Toronto's in a race to build more housing. Another 700,000 people are expected to live here by 2051. Imagine this tower is Toronto's housing plan. Right now, it's got holes, and we need ideas to fill them in. First up, homelessness. There are more than 10,000 people experiencing homelessness in the city. And while some in the city are still recovering from the damage of how we've dealt with tent encampments, a little village in Victoria, BC is a solution worth looking at. Built out of converted shipping containers, the village for unhoused people was extended twice. It worked so well. Meantime, LA's Tiny Homes Village has taken pressure off its crowded shelter system. Innovative solutions have been tested overseas too. Take Cambridge, UK, where modular mini homes were touted as a huge success. And 3D printing technology is being used in India and parts of Africa to create low-cost homes quickly. Finland adopted a housing-first strategy in 2008, where putting a roof over an unhoused person's head is seen as priority number one. Since then, the country's homeless rate has fallen by more than 30%, the only EU country to see its rate go down. Seems like a whole different level of urgency compared to here, where after months, if not years, of advocacy, just last month, Toronto Council declared homelessness a state of emergency. Another significant gap is affordable housing, a general concept where a home doesn't exceed 30% of somebody's monthly income. But the market is impossible right now. Average home prices wildly outpacing average salaries and rents escalating at an alarming rate.
So Alberta is calling. Will you answer?
To stop the slow bleed to other cities, housing has to become affordable at every level. Now, to be clear, a lack of affordable housing isn't just a Toronto problem, but other cities seem to be solving it. Take Austria's capital, Vienna, where 62% of residents live in social housing, not just for low-income people, but a broad swath of the middle class, too. The extent of subsidized housing in Vienna makes it one of the most affordable major cities in the world. By far the biggest hole in Toronto is supply. Supply? Oh, did I mention supply?
Critics say it could further squeeze the city's housing supply.
Housing prices are expected to increase even more next year thanks to a continued low supply.
The investment is part of an effort to tackle the lack of housing supply.
Toronto's new supply target is 285,000 homes by 2031. To do it would mean the completion of 31,050 homes per year, roughly double the average number of units built annually between 2017 to 2021. Something called gentle intensification might help, like the newly allowed citywide multiplexes. In the past, converting a single home into up to 4 units could only be done in 12% of the city. Now, council has approved them in all residential zones. But they rely on people or developers to fork over lots of cash for a reno. And in other North American cities, changes like this are too recent to see if they've made a big difference. Another possibility is taking buildings already owned by the city and making housing part of them. In 2019, Vancouver's No. 5 Fire Hall was rebuilt to include 31 affordable units for single mothers, with rents as low as $520 a month. How about all these new LRT stations along Eglinton? 2 to 3 stories of glass and air over the transit stop that could be housing. Hong Kong's transit authority built hundreds of thousands of units as it built station stops, and Paris put 650 homes on top of a revamped bus depot. What about turning to buildings the city doesn't own? In a post-COVID era with more people working at home, empty office buildings could help with housing supply. In downtown Calgary, a vacant 10-story building is being converted into 112 residential units. The city hopes with the help of an incentive program, more building owners will follow suit. Ditto in New York City, where the goal is to free up 136 million square feet of office space to convert into residential units. Big box and grocery stores like this are a potential housing windfall as well. A U of T report last year argued with low buildings and large footprints, converting Toronto stores of 6 retail locations could deliver nearly 70,000 housing units. But many even criticize Toronto's building pace. The city has one of the slowest housing approval rates in the country. On average, it takes 21 months to get an approval, partly because Toronto has fewer planners per capita than most regions, 53 per 1,000 housing starts, compared to 104 in Richmond Hill and 143 in Burlington. Houses sitting vacant in Toronto were thought to be a big problem as well. But the first year of Toronto's 1% vacant house tax found just 2,100 empty properties, failing to raise the expected $66 million city staff had hoped. Weird, because in Vancouver, the tax worked so well it's being raised to 5%. Since 2017, it's led to a 36% drop in vacant Vancouver properties and brought in more than $115 million. The frustrating thing with Toronto's housing crisis, the same problems keep getting identified, but the solutions we can't seem to agree on, and that is leaving Toronto with a shaky foundation.